Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of My Life in Objects. So I do have a special guest in the director's chair today, off to one side, and that is the inimitable Mav. There he is, just resting up after a hard morning directing there. He'll probably be there for the rest of the day, and then terrorise me in the evening, wanting to play. So we're going to actually look at this book. I mean, I could probably look at cats all day, but now we better get on with the job in hand. And I wanted to just do at least one episode where I talk about one of the interesting vintage synthesizer books I have. In a follow-up episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about something else that always fascinates me, which is, I don't know if anybody out there just loves looking through instruction manuals for synthesizers and stuff. But I'm going to do an episode on that because I've just got a D550 manual in pretty good condition. So I just want to sort of flick through that, and we'll have an ogle at that in a future episode. But this is a really cool book. I've had, I've got various books, mainly about instruments generally, musical instruments generally, history of music, and they've got various shots of synthesizing, but I've always been fascinated by synthesizers. I think from way back when I used to go in to music shops and they'd have some sort of small synthesizer in there, at least one, and that would have been in the late 70s, early 80s. And then I always look forward to, when I'm visiting Toronto, there's a really good music shop, and of course the name has just escaped me, even though I do actually have a t-shirt, and there's always really interesting, like old school synths out the back, like second-hand ones. In fact, there's a couple of really cool, or at least a couple of really cool music shops in Toronto that I always like to visit, which have various items of various synthesizer items, both old and new. I haven't really got anything of any consequence that I could really pull closely on camera. I mean, all I have now is I do have a rack mount D550, which I've not used in a long while. I have to run it through a transformer because it's from the UK, and I have a little sort of 3-octave keyboard, I suppose. 2.5. Is that right? Yeah, actually, it's probably only 3-octave, which is my Micron. They're pretty good synth, at least it's Microns. And I've got odd bits and pieces here and there. I've got a couple of drum machines and a QY10, which is like more of a composer, I suppose, although there is a synth chip in there. It does some basic sounds. And I've got one of those little, is it the Korg series? I think as well. What is it? Yeah, Korg Volca keys, which I bought with some money that where I used to work gave me one year after I'd worked for the firm for 10 years. So this is really, I just love looking at this stuff. Yeah, I was fascinated by these because this is what like Rush used to use, didn't they? But it's sort of great to go into one of these stores, if you're lucky enough to go into a store where they have, they get rid of second-hand gear. I think the one in Toronto is called something like Paul's Boutique. I think that's what I'm thinking of. And there's loads of like second-hand gear in there, like amps and synths and guitars. So I should be taking a trip actually down to Toronto in the next few months, so I'll look forward to visiting those places. I have to remember to have a list of places I fancy going. But yeah, this is really a lovely book, and it came out, I don't know if I mentioned this. So this was put together by Keyboard Magazine, and this came out originally, when was it? So there's a couple of copyrights in 93 and then 2000. So I must have bought this sometime, I reckon, in the 2010s, I suspect. Yeah, sometime around there. I've got a similar-ish one, an older one for guitars as well. I don't know who put that together. One of my very first instrument books I ever bought. Yeah, lots of sort of really nice articles that follow through. I do have a book somewhere I bought on circuit bending as well, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, this is a nice collection of all the sort of classic old school synthesizers. You know, CS80, the pre-MIDI stuff. I did have a JX, was it a Roland JX3P, I think it is, which I picked up secondhand, and I ended up, when I didn't really want to ship it to Nova Scotia when I moved, so I ended up actually gifting it to a friend of mine who was big into synthesizers. I sort of kept it at my parents' house for a little while I decided what to do with it after I'd gone. And I was visiting one day, and I sort of asked him round for a meet up for a drink and talk about music. And like on the way out, I just said, "Would you like my synthesizer?" I said, "Oh yes, please." So yeah, that was good thing to give away, and to somebody that I knew that would really appreciate it. So. And we have it. So yeah, lovely book to get if you can still get hold of it. I don't know how readily available this is. It was $27. And I'm trying to remember actually whether this was something that I picked up online or in a music store. It's quite possible I might have picked it up in a local music store over here. So there we go. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.